Let me ask you something. Have you ever wanted to grab a coffee and a breakfast sandwich and also purchase a new electric guitar? Who hasn't, right? Well, look no further than Zach Schlesinger, owner of The Melody Maker, a cafe that sells guitars, or is it a guitar shop that sells food and beverages? Either way, the place is great. Zach has found a way to blend these two businesses together seamlessly to create a musically inspired, friendly atmosphere with an outstanding selection of breakfast and coffee. So let's check it out.
And yeah, so thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, just want to get right into it. So, I mean, breakfast sandwiches and guitars, right? Not the first combination that people think of. You definitely found a way to make it work. So I'm just curious, can you talk for a minute just about your ideas for the business itself, how it all came about, and some of the offerings that you do food, you do coffee, you do some guitar services. So just kind of give the viewers a little idea, microcosm of what the experience is like coming in here, what kind of services that you offer.
Well, I guess the idea is to take one business or two businesses and put them in one, right? So it's a full service cafe and it's a full service guitar shop. So the idea is everyone goes to cafes. Everyone agrees those are fun, and everyone in my kind of world with guitars and stuff, dudes who are really into that are really into that.
Sure.
Women and men, all of the people who are really into guitar. But I guess the idea is to combine something where you get to do a little bit of both, right? So I know that I probably can't make a real living off just a regular guitar shop.
Sure.
That's really tough. But I know I can make a living off of a cafe.
Sure. Yeah. And what would you say are some of you have a lot of different food items, different kind of unique coffee, and we can talk a little bit about some of the services you provide for guitars and repair, maintenance, and things like that. But in your opinion, you've been open for a while. What do you think are some of your more, famous food items, or the ones that you get the most positive feedback on?
So we use a local bagel that is boiled out in Reading, Mass. I'm not going to tell you where I get them.
Secrets
Yep.
of the trade.
Yeah, something like that. But we do a focaccia bagel that is absolutely lovely. We sell, basically, it's like iced coffee and bacon, egg, and cheese pays the bills. By far the best in town. I don't care who you are. And then just regular cream cheese, and we do some specialty sandwiches and stuff like that. But mainly it's that regular bacon, egg, and cheese on focaccia that just is always selling.
Sure.
So
it sounds delicious.
Yeah, it's nice. So.
And what do you think how do you feel about the response has been so far from Clinton, from the community?
And I've got regulars who've been coming for 3 years.
Yep.
Some so much so where it's you can kind of set your clock to that, and that's great. There's been a bunch of people who don't like me, and that's fine. But it's the same with everything. This town is big enough now. I don't need to placate to everybody. If you like me, I like you. Keep coming back, and there you go.
Exactly. And kind of to that point, what do you want a customer, especially a first-time customer, what do you think the ideal experience is for them coming in here if they're coming in brand new?
I think that it's coming in not exactly knowing what to expect.
Yeah.
And I really want to civilize people in the sense where I want to interact with you. I want to know where you're from. I'm not interviewing you. It's not like Veronica Mars. But I want to know, do you live in town? Are you passing through? What dumb town are you from? I love that stuff. I know this whole state in and out. And I want to be able to connect with someone on some dumb level.
Yeah.
So when you want to get coffee and a bagel next time, and you have time to hang out, come on down and hang out here.
And it's true. I mean, no knock on other establishments, but not.
I'll knock on them all day.
But there's a lot to take in here, and there's a lot of conversation starters, and it's just a very interesting vibe. So I completely understand that. It is a nice place to come in here and spend 15 or 20 minutes to have a coffee and have a breakfast sandwich. So let's talk about your location. It's it's deceiving because it's Main Street, so you'd be like, "Oh, Main Street," but
Technically
yeah,
Main Street.
but it is a little bit off the beaten path,
Yeah.
a little bit of a windy road. You have to come behind the new Jack Mill buildings across from Dunkin' Donuts. So one of the ways that you've addressed that is just having very interesting and humorous signs out on the front of Main Street. I've laughed at a couple of them before I even knew about the business. I'd drive by and just like get a chuckle at,
Yeah.
there's been things about UFOs. And I'm curious, kind of a two-part question. Which sign did you get the most reaction from? And then also, which one was your personal favorite that you think was the funniest?
Okay. My personal favorite. I think a couple of months ago I made a crack. I think I said the CVS drive-through is better than the Starbucks drive-through. That was a lot of fun for me. I had a technical viral moment where I don't know if you remember, but like, what was the dumb guy, Jimmy Fallon?
Yeah.
Did the thing where Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, and they were saying everyone's name. Matt Damon said our name.
Yeah.
And I said, "Hey, Matt Damon, keep my town's name out of your goddamn mouth." And on an Instagram, it got really popular. I got the most likes for that one.
Yeah.
That was very fun.
Yeah. So how long you live in Clinton now, right?
Oh, yeah.
And how long have you been here for?
I've been in Clinton, I think it's 2014.
Gotcha.
Maybe 2012.
And where were you from before? Where were you originally from?
Originally, I'm from Western Mass.
Okay.
Graduated high school in Palmer. I don't know if you know anything about like the Western Mass part of the world, but
There be dragons.
yeah, kinda. And that's kind of true. It is a little weird out there. But in '08, I moved to Marlboro with a buddy, and I've kind of been in this area since. When it was time to buy a house. Out of all the surrounding towns at the moment, Clinton was a nice small town. I had lived in Lowell previously, so it was like, I'm not buying Lowell. I'm going to buy in a nice small town to raise kids and stuff like that. So, yeah, man, we've been in Clinton for a long time.
That's great. And still here, so I
Still here,
figure
man.
you like it.
Yeah.
Just want to talk for a second. You do have some formal culinary training and experience. I was wondering if you could just kind of talk about that a little bit, where you got the training, and then after some of the training, some of the places you may have worked where you cut your teeth before you were able to make the jump to run your own business.
Totally. My very first job, 14 years old, working under the table at an Italian place out in Wilbraham. I won't name it. And after that, every single job I had was always in a kitchen. I did culinary school at Holyoke Community. I did a internship at Disney World and worked at some of their really fancy restaurants. By the time I was 24, I was a kitchen manager at a Piccadilly pub in Marlboro. So I was really, really big into the Piccadilly pub. That was, as far as I was concerned at that age, that was the job I was going to do for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Piccadilly closed. I did a little stint at TGI Fridays where I got to really learn how to like manage restaurants inside and out with the whole financials and fucking dealing with people and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Worked for a couple mom and pops, was completely burnt out physically and mentally by like 30. So I went to go sell to restaurants. So I'm working for companies like Cisco and Maine's. So then you get to see not just the kitchen you work in, but everyone's kitchen. I know every kitchen in Western Mass and in Central Mass and in this town. I've been in them all because I tried to sell food to all of them. And that's where you learn like, oh shit, this is what works in this town. This doesn't work over here.
Right.
So, you get to see who's really good at it, who really sucks at it, how much attitude takes. Like a good attitude will get an untalented person so much further than a bad attitude on a very talented person.
Sure.
You see that really quick.
Yeah.
But so that was my experience of always being in restaurants. So at roughly around 40, I figured I probably can own and run my own restaurant.
Yep.
/ guitar shop.
So talk to me for a minute about the guitar side of this, because we've talked briefly and you mentioned how your hobby of repairing guitars and getting into guitars actually came out of COVID, which
Yeah.
a lot of people found some hobbies and interests when, you're forced by yourself sometimes you got to make do. And so I think a lot of people kind of figured out some hobbies. You found a hobby with, you taught yourself how to repair
Yeah.
guitars. And then so talk me through kind of the sequence of events that led from that hobby. And then I believe you started doing some, online, taking requests for repairs and stuff
Mhm.
online. And then finally, like, what was kind of the light bulb moment when you were like, hey, I can combine my culinary experience with this and I can make this work?
Yeah, that's fun. So I've always played guitar in my 20s, never in bands, never professionally, but I've always loved it. I've always had a passion for 1960s catalog American made guitars, specifically out of Chicago. Brands like Harmony, Kay, Silvertone, Old Craftsman. Uh, so when the pandemic hit, my company that I was working for, I was selling food, they just closed right away. So what I did with that spare time, besides be with my family and my kids and stuff like that, was the time I had off, I wanted to have I wanted all these old American guitars, but I wanted them to play better because they're old. They're, hanging out in basements. Typically, most of them were made by just dudes in factories. We're not talking Fender. We're not talking Gibson. We're talking 1960s student models. So the goal was to learn on these guitars so I could make them play better by whatever it was, redoing the electronics, the necks, the frets, and stuff like that, adding new parts where they needed to be. And I had so many of them where I had to start selling this shit now because now I'm buying all this stuff and I'm not. So I started going on Reverb and I started selling it there and it started working. At that time period of like 2020 to like 2023, the guitar market was just stupid. It was just crazy. You could find something, sell it at a good price. It's certainly changed now. It's a little different, but that's kind of like any market. It comes and it goes.
Right.
And I guess the moment for me where that light bulb was I had gone back to work. So I was selling produce for a company out of Chelsea, Mass. So I'm in restaurants all day, and I'm just whatever town I was in, I would see if there was a guitar shop, stop in real quick. That's okay. And I'd always wished that those places had coffee, or if like I could just stay there a little bit longer, if I had a reason. Remember what was that stupid place that sold books had a Starbucks in it?
Oh, yeah.
How brilliant is that?
Right, yep.
What a concept.
Yep.
So I kind of hoped for that. And all these people that I saw running these cafes, I thought I can do this better. So there we go.
Here you go.
And then it was sort of a tie-in to have the guitars because might as well do everything.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I mean, you're making it work. I mean, it's a very interesting, pretty cool place to hang out, especially if you're into guitars and into music too, right? You do a lot of, well, not a lot of, well, I guess we'll find out. You do some live events down here, right?
Yeah.
You have musicians.
Yeah.
So I was curious if you could talk to me and talk to viewers about what kind of bands that you have down here, how often you do it, and how they would be able to stay informed as to like who's going to be down here if they want to come down here to check it out.
The best way to stay informed is always follow the Instagram, the Melody Maker Clinton MA. That's the best way to stay informed. That's where we say all of our dumb stuff, all of our info. The live shows, there's really nothing scheduled for the rest of the summer pretty much. Most of the stuff that we had, we might pick it back up again in the fall. But last summer, we did have a lot of bands come through, some local stuff. Last summer, the motto was like, if someone reached out to me, I'm going to do it. I was just saying yes to everything. We're a little more reserved about that. There's a handful of people who I'll let them do a show here every night. What we normally do is we doors at 6, shows from 7 to around 10 or whatever. No, we don't go past 10. I'll usually do a special menu, so it won't be bacon, egg, and cheese and stuff like that. It'll be like some variation on the band, some fun play with it.
Your website, I have to admit, I find hysterical.
Thank you.
I've done a couple deep dives on it, and so if anyone hasn't checked out the website, I highly recommend it. If anything, just for a laugh. And if if you don't mind a little bit of a spoiler alert, the feedback section,
Yeah.
those aren't real.
No,
But-
no. They're based on interpretations of how situations could have gone.
Right.
Or what is that based on not a true story, but what do they say in
Yeah, like
movies?
inspired by
It's
real events.
inspired by real
Yeah.
events.
Right,
Some of
right.
them are inspired by real events.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they're hysterical. You do it's funny, and I kind of have a similar question to that as to the sign out front is which one have there been some of those comments you put on there that people have mentioned to you that made them laugh or that they thought was real and you
Yeah.
had to kind of tell them and also which one is your personal favorite that you put on there? You're like, nailed it. This one's gonna be funny.
That's a good question. I guess I don't really know what my favorite would be. That's a tricky one. But yeah, I've had a bunch of people wonder or not if they're real. And I guess it depends on the person. I'll tell them, yeah, no, they're real, dude.
Yeah.
Or no, they're not real. For me, it's just like, it's such a fun thought that I would even say some of that stuff about myself or the business and how it's obviously blown out of proportion and insane.
Right.
I find that to be very funny.
It
Same thing with the sign out there, you know, like I often mention the staff is rude.
Yeah.
I think that's funny, you know.
And to be fair, we should warn the viewers there is a little bit of dirty language on some of those.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but it's
Oh yeah.
if that doesn't offend you, I highly recommend you check it out. They're really funny.
So honestly, I don't put too much thought into the website. There's stuff there, but really everything's on the Instagram. For me, it's just a lot of fun, which is weird because before owning a business, I never really had like a social media presence or anything like that. Maybe some pictures of my kids and
Mhm.
shit like that.
Mhm.
But I find it so fun to talk shit on the internet and to just be open and say these things that are just popping in my head. And it seems to work. You know, I do pretty well. But like it's the only way I communicate with people. Like I'm not taking a phone call. I'm not responding to your email. If you want to get a hold of me, get on Instagram.
Sure.
That's kind of how I make all my connections and stuff too.
Yep.
So yeah, for me, it's like been just a lot of fun. Like it's not a job yet. I don't feel pressure to do anything on it.
Right.
It's just a lot of fun. So
And just to and you know, we're wrapping up, and thank you very much. I think
Yeah.
this has been a great interview. I hope people get a nice idea of the business down here. But music is a very big part of the identity down here. And I'm just curious, growing up, what were some of your musical influences? What really kind of attracted you to music? And even in present day, like what are some
Yeah.
of your musicians that you like today?
you know, it's such a funny question because you go from like growing up stuff that I heard when I was a kid, Everly Brothers, Bonnie Raitt, stuff like that. A lot of that stuff really stuck with me. No offense, but like, yeah, the Beatles are fine.
Yeah.
Did I really like? Yeah, Abbey Road's amazing, but did I really go nuts over the Beatles? I'm insane about the Beach Boys. How could you not be? And then like, you know, and then in high school you get like your identity of what you really like and stuff like that. It was always like indie rock, stuff like that. But like now these days it's anyone who's doing something interesting, like fun pop music. Dijon, McGee,
Yep.
even the last Justin Bieber record was awesome. I don't care what anyone says.
It's got a couple good
It's
songs.
super
I'm not
good.
gonna knock them.
The whole record's really good, actually. I love rap music. You know, it's always changing. Good old
Sure.
like Built to Spill, guitar rock, pinback, stuff like that.
Hey, Zach, I appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
Thanks a lot.
Well, thank you for coming out.
Love the place down here. I'm a frequent visitor, and I will continue to be. And for everyone out there watching this, please come down here, check it out. It's a great vibe. And thanks a lot for watching.
Thank you.